in Sicily had a son who's Augustino, which is Gus, that we went and visited.
Who's there? But he's young, man.
There was Uncle Gus, the guy who drank all the, who used to drink
No,
like
Uncle
bottles
Gus,
and bottles of wine.
Oh, yeah, that's.
He drank
old
a
gas.
quart of wine every
That's
day.
not
Your
the
grandmother's
same
brother.
Gus that you're talking
He had a
about.
whole gallon.
There's a lot of
They all have the
Gusses.
same name.
They're all Gusses. They're
Gussels are
umpteen
Gus or
Gusses.
Joe.
Okay,
Still five
wait,
for
do your
him,
parents have any living siblings?
No.
None?
Your mom's had sister who was Virginia, and and a brother.
Yeah, she had Virginia, Josephine,
Gus.
Gus, and Jim.
Jim.
Poor guy.
And Philip.
And Phil.
Yeah, what?
Yeah,
Wait, this
Phil.
was your mom's
Quite a few
family?
Yeah, it was
children.
five,
Start over,
six of
start
them.
over.
There were 6 of them.
I can remember when
Boston.
I couldn't be more than 6 or 7 years old when we went to see Uncle Phil, who was alive then, and Josephine, and they had a Moon automobile.
Yeah.
Moon, M-O-O-N.
Worth a lot of money today.
Yeah, sitting in the garage.
So how,
And it was older stuff, and I remember sitting in
Dave,
the clutch.
Dave,
I'm just bringing it closer. Shh.
And Uncle Gus was a beautiful guy too. He would buy wine, they would deliver it out in the backyard, and they had a big cask. And he would go out there every night, yeah, and he would work, he was working as a janitor at Forest Park, cleaning the bathrooms. So at Christmas time, now here's a guy 80 years old, still working for the city.
Cleaning the trees and putting
He said to my
toilet paper in.
cousin Joe, who's dead now, I gotta go to work. Grandpa. No, he's calling him no. Grandpa, it's Christmas Eve. I don't care. I gotta go to work. But you don't have to go to work.
Nobody's gonna be in the bathrooms.
Nobody's gonna be there. He wanted to be driving out there. And they finally told him he had to retire. He'd been there long enough.
The city
Too
did.
old, the city. So he argued with Joe, you gotta go down there, of course, all this is in Italian. You gotta go down there and tell him I don't wanna retire, I wanna work. So they retired. So now he's drinking his wine, pasta almost every night, and then when he drank his wine, he'd go across the street to the saloon, have 2 bottles of
You say
beer,
saloon.
then come back and sit on the stoop, there's not a cement.
Not any bigger than this square
And
here.
he'd sit there rocking and smoking a pipe, and he'd go to bed. So he said to me, he says, that doctor, he told me I gotta quit drinking.
That's
That
okay.
son of a bitch. He said, and guess what? He died. He was the funniest. My cousin Joe, he was the devil. They took him to Las Vegas, and they took him to
The old guy?
Girly show.
The old guy, yeah.
But they had a recording, and you should hear the recording. The old type, the old recording.
Never heard that.
Yeah.
Oh, they have
took
all
him
of
there,
that of the family.
and of course these
That's
gals
what's
are
fun.
half nude, you
in
know.
Italian?
Yeah, we went
You're all of that.
2 years ago.
so they're talking, it's like a recording of them talking.
Right, they got
He's
all
talking
of
in
it.
Italian about the women with these tassels on it.
Ah.
Boots and no clothes.
He was
And he's all in a frazzle.
Now, who was this exactly?
Uncle Gus,
The old Uncle
the old
Gus,
Uncle
80s.
Gus. Never,
My
never,
mother's brother.
yeah.
So tell me again who your mother was Mary, or Marie? Mary? Marie.
And Gus, Jim,
Gus,
Philip,
Phil.
Virginia.
Jim,
for
Uncle Jim.
Virginia.
There's only one girl,
There's 6 of them.
2 girls.
There was Aunt Virginia, Aunt Joseph, no, Aunt Josephine
No,
was not,
No,
she was in-law.
right, it was an
Yeah.
So it was
Oh, so
5
it's
then.
5
Right.
siblings.
Well, there's
I
a-
met Uncle Jim.
there's
He was
an
married
awful-
to an
there's an awful
American,
story there,
which
too.
was
Oh, yeah, I know.
And then your dad, which he had
His
siblings.
sons.
Yeah, he had three sisters.
Right, all sisters.
What were their
He
names?
was the oldest,
Pauline,
right?
yeah, he was the oldest. Pauline, Josephine, Mary,
And Virginia.
Fran.
and Virginia.
and
He had a
But
sister
they
named
don't-
Virginia, and your mom also had a sister named Virginia?
But those weren't the funny stories on that
Francis?
side. The Boutisi side is the
Francis?
funny stories.
Yeah, that's right, Batista.
Francis was
Franz Loberto was Pauline's
the
daughter.
daughter.
Daughter, right.
Now, Loberta's were your dad's side?
No.
No.
Loberto-
In-laws,
No,
in-laws.
not Loberto.
Well,
Francis
Francis
married.
was
Francis
your
Loberto,
cousin
sure.
on your dad's side.
Right. Right.
I didn't know that.
There's no Boutisi.
Yeah,
on
and
that
Pauline
side.
was his dad's sister.
They're all generated from Rallos. The whole clan is generated from Rallos. You take Mike Loberto, his mother was born of, his grandmother is a Rallo,
Loberto,
Loberto.
Michael Loberto and Kate.
You get
are-
Stella Finnegan.
Well, she's Mike's
She's a-
sister.
Her grandmother's a Rallo.
She's Mike's sister,
Right.
likewise.
And likewise with Paula, who has the two girls.
So your mom came from Sicily to live with her brother
Yes.
here,
Yes.
and then
In St. Louis.
in St. Louis. And then your dad met your mom somewhere in
In
St.
St.
Louis.
Louis, he was working at
Yeah.
a shoe factory.
And then they moved.
Eventually, he came to Detroit because he was looking for work and he worked in the factory. They came in about the wartime.
My dad was really sick, he really was, because he was furiously jealous, without any cause. If my uncles,
Yeah.
They're gonna
not
kill him.
related to my
They're gonna kill
mother rather, would come in and visit.
He
My
was
dad would
suspect.
get very upset because my mother looked at that guy. Looked at him.
Her
We
brothers
had all
or his
kinds of-
brothers?
Brother-in-laws.
Their brother.
Oh, I mean,
He had
was-
no brothers.
Of course, in those days, who knew about taking
But you
anybody to
see-
a doctor?
My
I think
mother,
he was in charge
my
of
mother
his
used to get
sisters.
beat up. My mother used to
Oh,
get
yeah.
beat up. She'd pack her bag and she'd get on the bus and go back to St. Louis. Well, when she'd go back to St. Louis, her brothers would look at her
They want to kill him.
and they wanted to kill my dad. They were,
Yeah.
they were gonna come up here and try and kill him.
Yeah.
Thank God that they never did, but
Well, my dad, God rest his soul, he was working at Ford Motor Car Company in River Rouge in Detroit. And somebody said something to my dad. My dad used to be a shoemaker, and the shoemakers, they've got a knife that's straight up and like a very sharp at the edge. They cut leather, very sharp. He always carried that with him, and it had a wooden handle.
Oh.
So this guy
that's a terrible thing he done.
This
We
guy
shouldn't
said
have
something to my
those.
dad. My dad took the knife and cut him across the face at work. Well, they fired him from River Rouge. Now, nobody knew anything about that. We found that out later. But the union got involved, they saved his job, and he worked at Highland Park. They moved him out of River Rouge to Highland Park. But that had to do with his suspicion that this guy had no relationship with my mother ever, might have said something we don't know.
He might have said something about
No.
your wife or something.
Tell us some more good stories about St. Louis. Those are better stories.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, you know, his father had the three younger sisters, and they lost their mother, from the way I understand
Yes,
it.
lost
I
them
think
early.
that was part of his
So-
trouble.
Their dad, his father would go to work, and he was in
He was
charge.
the oldest brother.
And yes, he was the
He
brother.
was the oldest
And
child.
they had the three little girls.
He was young
And he
himself.
took care of those girls, so
And
I
he
think that was
a
his
boy
attitude.
himself.
Well,
Yeah.
plus the fact that my grandfather wanted, well, forced him into being a shoemaker, which he didn't want to be.
What did he want to be?
Who knows? But he went to work for his uncle in the wine business.
Right, why didn't?
He wanted to
Because
probably,
when he got
loved to
old
make
enough- when he
wine.
got old
That was
enough,
what he loved.
He told his dad, hey, I'm not going to have anything to do with shoemaking. And he went to work for his uncle. And unfortunately, he missed his calling because out of all my uncles, they used to make wine together. And my dad always came up with the best wine. The clearest wine, the best wine. And they always just marvel at, you know, how great the wine
Which
is.
is
like a
clear as
winemaker.
what you had in that
Yeah,
bottle.
he missed his calling. He should have, at his age, rather than going working on the railroad tracks, laying railroad, he should have went out to California.
Did you know your grandfather?
Yeah, I
Sure.
know, yeah.
Oh, you did?
You
His
remember?
father you knew.
He lived with them for a
But
while.
I was just a little
No,
boy.
he lived with him, never lived with us.
What was he
Yeah,
like?
he lived
Your
with my Aunt Mary.
grandfather
Aunt
lived
Mary.
with
Yeah, I
you,
lived with
and
my
your
Aunt
mother
Mary.
said he did.
He never lived with us.
Never
Your
lived
mother
with
said
us.
he
Never.
did.
I don't
grandfather
remember
or
that.
I know, but
He
I,
never lived with
Never
us.
But I
lived
bet
with
he
us.
wasn't a
Aunt
very
Mary.
pleasant man.
No, he was not.
He was not a nice man.
No.
Your
My
dad's
grandfather.
dad?
Oh, no.
No, he was not.
See, so I think your father was raised by a mean man. He had to give up everything to raise his sisters, be responsible for
charge of them all the
everything while the
time.
father worked.
when he came over here, he was
Do you
so
remember
young.
your mom?
He had
Miserable
a few pennies
childhood.
in his
We
pocket.
went,
He was
when we went to
18. He
Mazzara,
brought all three
we went
girls
down the
over
street
with him. Eventually, he worked
that
and brought them over. Yeah.
supposedly where he lived,
Our grandfather.
yeah. But it was not a very nice place. It was
What
not-
about your mom's parents? Did you ever know
Remember
about
them?
them?
No, I never met my mom.
Wait, so did your dad came over with his dad?
No.
No.
My dad came over first. Undoubtedly, they must have pooled their money somehow, and he came over first.
Then
He saved
came to
saved
have
enough
everybody-
money, then he brought over his sisters
That's the other
and
thing.
his
Here it
father.
is during the Depression, right?
Yeah,
He
during the
scrimped
Depression,
and
yeah.
saved
It
enough
was
Yeah,
during
he
to
didn't
bring
have much. Did he
all
work on
his
the docks?
sisters and
No,
everything
he
over
worked
during
on
the
the
Depression.
railroad, laying railroad tracks.
He was, you know.
He didn't have a very happy life.
No, he didn't.
You're
He tells a story, and how true this story is, I have no idea. He's sitting on a stoop in
I just
Chicago.
need to reset it. And
And
I've reset it, but it hasn't seemed to.
He didn't know this guy from Adam, and he was talking to another Italian guy. And car pulled up, they shot this guy dead, and he got up and walked away. He was
Oh
afraid
my
they're gonna kill him.
Jeez.
You remember that story?
I heard it, sorry.
That was like
Well, how
big
true-
time mobs.
How true that story is, I
Yeah,
have
it
no
could have been.
idea.
It was kind of a rough time.
It was, yeah.
It was
It was like
prohibition
big
time
time
and a lot
gangster
of
mobs.
gangs.
Yeah.
About as bad now with the drug lords.
We did not have a very happy family.
No.
But you made a lot of happy times. I mean, a lot of the things you talk about are.
Well,
The kids.
my mother made the best of it. My mother made the best of it.
Are you talking about divorce? Are you kidding, divorce? Oh, that'd be the horriblest thing in the world to happen.
Well, where does a woman go? I mean, there was no provisions for women in those years.
My mother worked for
I know
years.
she
on
worked
her own.
at Crawley's. She used to leave on Lennox,
I'll
and
never-
as old as she was, and walk
I'll
down
never
to the
forget
corner
when
and
she
take
lost
the
her
bus
diamond
down.
out of her ring.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Boy, that was another experience. She says, if Pa ever sees that, she'll kill him.
Oh boy, that would be scary.
Yeah, she lost the diamond, and then the next day, she got the janitor to sweep underneath the press,
She found it.
and the diamond rolled out.
That was lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, she sewed for years. Snow, whatever. Well, they both did. They never
She
had a
worked-
car. Your dad
well,
used to
he
walk
worked-
to mass every morning.
Wasn't that unusual then?
What?
Or during the Depression, did a lot of women
What, work? Oh,
go
yeah.
to work?
Sure.
So where were you guys when they were both working at school?
School, yeah, we come home to an empty house.
My dad worked at Ford Motor Car Company, and Ford, in those
He must
days,
have took a
He
bus
got-
or a
they
street
paid him in cash. A little
Wow.
envelope, and he was paid $5 a day. That was his salary.
That was a big wage in those
And that was a
days.
big wage, $5 a day. And he saved money, he bought rental apartment, bought several of them,
Bought his sisters
For that
from
much, they managed very well.
$5 a
Yeah,
day.
they were able to, and eat good.
Well, I can remember,
It was the-
Didn't
I
buy
can
any
remember him
car.
telling the story,
Good.
telling the story that he used to,
Your
he worked at
grandmother
Brown
was a
Shoes
wonderful
Factory.
cook.
In St. Louis, Brown
St. Louis.
Street, right.
And
That's
he
why
used to
we
say,
married him.
during the Depression, he'd sell shoes on the
I
side.
used to love to go there.
That he'd say, I made from scrap, from Brown. I said, oh, I think about it today, was it really scrap? Or
Scrap,
was
it
it something else?
No, but you know what he used to do? I can remember as growing up, he would buy leather, leather.
Big sheet.
That's like big sheets of leather, and he would resole our shoes. He had a last, and he would, with his knife, go and
As much as he didn't want to be a shoemaker,
He was
he,
good
well,
at
he
it.
Well,
would,
it saved a
Make
lot
sure
of
your
money.
shoes
we
were okay.
rarely bought new
Yeah,
shoes.
shoes were expensive.
All of them resold.
They were
Resold
frugal,
shoes.
you know?
Shoes were expensive.
Did that.
Yeah.
They always had, you know,
He was
they
good-
lived
he was
in a
good with
nice
kids.
place, they had a
He was
nice
always a good
flat
house.
and a rent.
But my mother, it was misery, that poor woman.
Well, I can remember also going to Eastern Market, walking from Von Elliott,
Oh, we did that, I did that.
walk, and he, you know, the stuff he used to come home with. Well, the wagon was full, and we'd save 6 cents by walking from Eastern Market to,
But that was a lot of money. 6 cents
In those days.
was a streetcar
and
fare.
then a penny for transfer, 7
Penny for
cents.
transfer. Right, 7 cents.
My,
We would walk.
my
We would
mother
spend
and
that
dad
money.
could send us to a movie and we'd get our bus fare and a transfer, our admission into the theater and popcorn for 25 cents.
And
And
also,
that was
they would
the
have
wartime.
I
They would
remember
have
25-cent
dishes.
movies.
Yeah.
at the theater. Dishes like plates, platters.
Like carnival,
Oh,
carnival
right,
plates.
yeah, and then
You know
you
the
would collect
teapot
And
we
you get
had
for
with the
free.
plate? The teapot with the matching plate, the white one with the like coral flowers on it? That's from the flower.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Or was it dish night? Was that dish
Well, I'm
night?
not sure.
that's right, they sure did.
But it was from dish night or
Mom
flower
used to do
My
that.
mom used to get a lot of them.
bag. I don't know, one of the two.
But it's an old, you know, we're talking stuff that hopefully you guys will remember. But
I need to know.
it's, you know, you gotta go to your baby, honey.
Great
This
cooks.
is amazing how long you have been able
It's
to be
10 o'clock.
away. God bless
Yeah,
your
it is.
mama. I think I would have been scared. She's brave.
We should have left the light on in the house.
She was there, we did. She was there from what, like
I'll help, honey,
4:30?
go
and run.
Go ahead, yeah, leave it, leave
4:30,
everything.
We will.
Leave it.
We'll take
Yeah,
care
you
of
can
it.
run. Yeah,
Six, almost 6 hours. What a good baby.
See you, buddy.
And we'll see you tomorrow.
I'm taking you.
Very good, Charles.
Laura's
We'll see
missing
you,
her
huh?
to both.
Happy birthday, Tony.
Oh, thank you, thank you. And thank you, Laura.
You're
That was
welcome.
awfully nice of you, all right?
Yeah, Rosemary, we'll see you tomorrow.
I'll see you tomorrow, sweetheart. It's fun joining
Love you.
all of you.
Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow.
Love you.
Bye, Mama. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye-bye, honey, I'm coming.
Good night.
You're gonna call
No,
me?
just stay seated. Just leave it.
You guys gonna call before you, well, we'll be home. We'll be home.
So,
Yeah, we were living in the past, huh?
Well, that's, the girls like to hear those stories, you know.
Happy birthday.
Well, thank you, Laura.
I was thinking this with you, Dad, if you wanted to go, you planned it out.
He's a good boy.
We'll make
Well,
sure.
it'd be nice for you to meet your cousins, you know.
Yeah, we'd be happy to go out there.
Love you.
They're a lot of fun. Your babies have a lot of fun. They're a family group.
You should go in August, that sounds like that'd be
Well, we're going to St. Louis in August, so I don't know when they're going.
You mean,
we're gonna be in for the Rosemary.
Disney. Well, they're both.
Rosemary and the kids.
We're gonna stay at a motel. We're just gonna- She'll probably wanna see the art and a couple of things, but we'll.
Are you guys driving on Saturday? I know, but what day are you driving on?
We can either drive Friday and spend Saturday visiting them, but I told Dottie, I said, I know
Friday,
everybody
Saturday, and
works.
Sunday, and come home Monday morning.
So say Saturday and leave
Leave
Sunday.
Friday, come back Monday.
Oh, good night,
I'll come back
sweetie.
Monday.
You sleep tight. You take care of that baby of yours, will you?
Bye.
Thank you very much for
And
that.
happy birthday.
Well, thank you, sweetheart.
He's self-sufficient.
Love you, my
Takes care of
darling.
himself now.
Have a good weekend.
Thanks, I'll see you soon.
We'll see you soon.
And you have a great weekend.
Well, thank you.
At least there's not as many here that there was yesterday.
How about Uncle Ray? You gonna give Uncle Ray a hug?
Bye, Uncle Ray.
Bye. How come you don't say happy birthday to me?
Because it's not.
Oh, okay.
We'll have a very good weekend.
Okay.
My
See
darling.
ya, kiddo.
Boy, he's
Have a
a
good,
bright,
everybody have a nice weekend.
Well, we're gonna see you again.
You don't put any
Okay, we're
past
gonna be
you.
here a few days.
No, you don't.
Sleep
Boy,
tight.
boy.
He's my
I
darling.
really, he's so grown up in ways, he
Oh
gets
my God,
young.
he sure is. Wow.
So fun.
Best boy.
Yeah, there's no,
Hey, Rosemary, sit.
there's
Don't
no
do
fooling
anything,
him.
just sit.
No, you can't.
And, you know, when you talk about the Bautisis, you talk about Gus Buttici and Sicily, same mode, same good time.
Yeah, that's the
and
Buttices on the
food,
fun
you know,
side.
It's amazing that they
Just
have the
enjoy
same type of attitude and, you know, open arm. It's like amazing.
And help the babies.
One story. Nancy April's gonna read you one story.
Silently.
You asked one story.
So this is quite,
Quite interesting.
quite interesting.
Do you want turkeys in your butt?
Yes, I do. Am I behind you?
Yeah, I'll move it.
Yeah, I'll move it.
I'll move it. Take me 2 seconds.
Cheryl's talking.
Stay comfy. Gotta go out there anyways.
I want to hear about the farm, like the fig tree and the.
Oh, the garden and
The garden.
Lennox.
Oh.
Yeah, the fig tree berry.
So you guys, so they came from St. Louis. They moved straight to Detroit,
Yeah.
and then you guys were all born in Detroit, or were you born?
St. Louis.
All in St.
Oh,
Louis.
That's the picture on Reaver Place I showed you, Uncle Randy.
His job changed.
No,
Well, he came to Detroit, he was working at the shoe factory, and I don't know if he got laid off or what happened, but anyhow, my uncle Sam, who was married to his sister Mary,
Married to Grandpa Rollo's
sent him a
sister.
letter saying Ford is hiring, come on up and, you know, they'll have a job for you. So he went up and he went, started
You
working.
left your mom and you were just a baby.
Yeah, I was just,
She stayed back.
yeah, she stayed in St. Louis. She didn't want to come to
Oh,
Detroit.
no.
Yeah, I know.
Well, there was another reason though, you see.
Uh,
Ma's brothers and relatives were all in St. Louis.
Yeah,
Pa's
we're all in Detroit.
So where do you think we're gonna wind up at?
Yeah,
My mom had no say in that. It was all his
that's
judgment.
right, it's all his doing.
So they came to Detroit, and
Yeah.
then you guys came, and then
Joined later, yeah, later.
that is where
I
the.
came first, then, thank you. I came first and then
See you, Cheryl.
my mother and
Good night.
Ray and your Aunt Joe came second.
So you were like 5 or 6 or something when that happened.
I had to be 6 or 7.
He was a baby, so there would have been
I
a
had to be
distance
6 or
in your
7 years
age.
old because I was going to Holy Innocents Catholic School, and I remember vividly that the nuns after school would have you line up, and I could walk to school, it was only 2 blocks away. They line you up and then dismiss you. Well, I decided that I wasn't gonna wait in line, because I only lived, so I just took off. Well, the next day when I was at school, put your hands out, they took a ruler, down. Oh, yeah. They don't do that anymore, of course. So I can remember vividly, I was in, that's why I know, it was
Where
later
you
than,
were.
later than
He remembers where he was at.
grade school.
Yeah, my dad was he, as I say, I think he missed his calling, because he loved
He might have been a happier
He
man.
loved gardening. He loved.
Yeah, he did.
He loved.
He's like you.
Imagine if you'd had a vineyard, you
Every
know,
year,
he probably would have been a happier person.
I had to find a cardboard box for him. And when I got old enough, I got a cardboard box. And then on Lennox, we didn't have a fig tree on Monelia though.
Lennox,
No,
you did.
Lennox.
Lennox.
And I had one. I
In
had
the
one
backyard.
And yeah, and Springle.
With Sprinkle.
But anyways, that house still, that's the only house that's
Standing.
yeah, standing. Anyhow, every year in the fall, we'd bend that tree, without breaking it, boy.
Can't imagine.
Oh my
Don't,
gosh.
don't you dare
You
break
better
it,
not break the
better not
tree.
break
How
the
could
damn
you
out
do
tree.
It would be like that.
And
They
then-
would bend it over and.
And then we
Where
put
did
cover
Lennox
with cardboard and
sprinkle?
leaves, and then let it go.
Did
and
you
then
stake it down?
We'd take
In the
cinder
springtime.
blocks and tie it
Yeah.
with a cloth around it, not to hurt it, and pull it down with the
Oh,
rope
I would
on
dig-
cinder
I would dig a
blocks,
hole,
and then put
Bend the tree over.
cardboard
and
and leaves,
yeah,
and
and
the
bury it.
neighbors used
And
to
the
laugh
next
just like
year-
we were nuts.
Come up.
But we always had
But
figs.
she had figs.
Oh, we had figs.
No,
So that was your first house, Lennox?
No,
no, it was my dad's house.
that's the first one that he owned.
So
You lived on Mount Elliott.
Yeah, we lived on Heidelberg first.
Yes. Canton first.
Canton first, or Canton,
1821
well, see, I don't even
Canton.
remember Canton.
1821 Canton, 3419 Heidelberg, 1792 Mount Elliott.
You know
And
the
then
address.
1290 Lennox. Huh?
I can pick up the addresses from Monelia.
And Mount Elliott was by the
17,
monastery.
yeah, 1792 Mount Elliott.
1792, Mount Elliott.
And then we
That
have
was
1290
right next
Lennox
door.
and 20305 California Avenue.
Right.
And that was right next to the
So
monastery.
where are these houses, like, in my mind, where are
Well,
they?
Mount
Lennox
Elliott
is
was gone.
gone, it's torn
But
down.
where are they, like, where's Mount Elliott?
Mount Elliott is close to Grosse Pointe, maybe about a mile.
You know where the
Yeah,
Capuchin,
Grosse Pointe.
soup kitchen
Not
is?
Mount Elliott.
And the
You're
monastery?
talking about down by Wayne State, right?
Mount Elliott's by, you know where
Kinda.
you've been to Mount Elliott.
I know, but I can't think of where it is.
You know where the cemetery is? The cemetery across the street?
No.
Big
She
cemetery.
doesn't
across-
know
Church.
any of that is. She
The
doesn't
church.
know what that is.
Well,
A lot
anyways,
of people go
Downtown
to the
Detroit.
church there
you,
at
you,
Christmas
you,
time and
you won't know that if I can tell you,
Father Solanus
Yeah.
was the
the attraction.
porter
And
of
at
St.
that time, their
Bonaventure.
house was right next to that
They lived next door
monastery.
to the mission.
Where
It's
the
all
garden
gone.
is now, your house used to be. And the men in the Depression would stand in line
They still stand in line for
at the
meals
soup
there.
kitchen.
They call it
And
Capuchin
his
soup kitchen.
parents would take
I
him
get
in.
letters all the
But
time
there
for
is no,
donations.
there is no soup kitchen on Mount Elliott. It's now moved to Meldrum.
But didn't your parents have to
Capuchins
sometimes
have it,
let
don't
people
they?
stay at their house?
Yeah, Pa used to, that's another one.
I know he didn't like if the men didn't do it,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
understand that.
My mother used to get so upset because the old ladies used to come to the house, and there were no motels or hotels in that time. And we had a couple old ladies, not both at the same time, but from time to time, they'd come and they'd, can I stay? And Pa would let them stay. We'd have to move out of the bed.
Oh.
Don't you remember that?
What did they came from the mission?
They came for Father Solanus.
They
Oh.
moved him out of Detroit. They moved
Came
him,
from
where
Father
did they move him?
Huntington,
Cleveland?
Indiana. Huntington, Indiana.
He created such a fuss here in lineups for people to go to him for special
Yeah.
Blessings.
blessings and everything. But they finally put him in isolation in Indiana someplace to get rid of him.
So you
But he's
guys,
buried back there.
you guys had garden, like, just in your backyard kind of garden?
Oh, my dad had a garden.
St. Clair
It was a huge garden on the Mount Elliott Avenue. We had 3 pear trees. One was a yellow sweet pear tree, and the pears used to drop, and the yellow jackets used to go down. They were so sweet. But anyways, and then they had 2 other green pear trees that were not, they were bigger pears. They were not the small ones. But my dad had the right-hand side of the yard, and my Uncle Buster had the left-hand side. And,
Like,
Did they compete?
yeah, kind of, they kind of competed, I thought. And then when World War II broke out, Pa built that doggone chicken coop.
and you had the chicks.
Yeah, and
Chicken.
yeah, he went
Well,
out,
that was good though because
he went to
people
Eastern
had
Market, he went to
food.
Eastern Market and bought 100 chicks. I don't know where the hell he found the 100 chicks.
I don't either.
But he got 100 chicks, he got 100 pounds of sugar, 100 pounds of flour
How'd you carry it all?
on a wagon.
Back
Oh,
and forth?
They stored
Oh,
food like you would,
yeah.
even after the war.
This was
When
a
I
war-
was dating your uncle,
This was during World War II.
they had food
This is
coming
World
out
War
their
II.
yin yang.
He
Like
used to buy,
Joe.
he used to buy spaghetti
That's where she
in
got
20-pound boxes.
Boxes, that's right.
Oh my god.
20-pound boxes of spaghetti.
Spaghetti
It
keeps
was like the
forever.
war was gonna.
He was like the first Costco.
That's right.
Right.
But see, during the war, you couldn't get food like that. You had so many rations,
Oh,
you
we'd
could
go
have
over to,
so
we'd
many
go over to
pounds.
Windsor.
Yeah.
We'd go over to Windsor,
Week,
Canada.
depending on how many in
Bring
your
some
family.
eggs back. We couldn't get meat. I mean, we had
Gasoline was rationed.
tires,
Everything.
you couldn't get a bike. I remember my folks couldn't buy a new bicycle to save their soul. Nobody built bikes.
So what was your relationship like? Did you guys play a lot together, or did you have your own friends?
Yeah, we
Tony,
played
do you
together.
put your keys?
We played together.
Baseball in
They-
the alley.
Yeah, baseball in the alley. More kids got hurt in that alley for the Bradford trailing.
Sure, shoot the hell out of it.
Well, he shouldn't, well, yeah.
But we didn't do that kind of stuff. did we?
No.
But tell about the monastery and how you guys would, the monks
Well,
would
you know,
hike up there.
you gotta go back. When we first moved on Mount Elliott Avenue, next door to us was Mr. and Mrs. DeMulemaster.
Yeah, right there.
And
Houses.
they had 2 sons, and right behind the house, they had a real big farm barn, a huge farm barn. And we used to swing from one side of the, they had a rope in the center, and we'd swing from one side of that to the other side. And then the monastery must have offered him money for it, and they sold the house and they moved away. And the monastery tore the house down,
Third order hall.
and they tore the barn down, and they built a third order hall.
Third order hall, right.
While we were there, they built it. They
That's
built the whole thing there. And then we play handball against the wall that was now built in the alley. That was our playground.
Didn't the monks come out and play with you?
Yeah, the monks used to come out and play
And they
with
had
us.
the long robes on and
Yeah.
they'd hike, didn't you say they'd hike their robes
Yeah,
up and
yeah,
tie them up?
yeah.
They had big dogs. I remember
Oh,
Sam
yeah, big
raced a
Saint
big,
Bernard.
big
Oh,
dog
big Saint
in
We
Bernard.
went over there, we
the
played
protector
baseball, and we hit the
inside the
ball
wall.
over the wall into the monastery. And of course, the monastery is closed, so what we do is get up on the wall, jump over to find our softball. Well, they had 2 German shepherds.
Oh, no.
So I was there retrieving the ball, and the 2 German shepherds, they held me at bay, barking. They didn't charge. And I stood there scared, okay, till a monk came out. Chased the dogs away, opened let us out. But they were always kind. They,
Yeah, they were pretty good.
You guys had good memories of those.
we used to help
there, you know.
Wonder Bread, or not Wonder Bread, Silver Cup.
right, silver cup, right.
Silver Cup bread used to take all their day-old bread and bring it to the soup kitchen. And they had other trucks that came bearing whatever day-old stuff, and they bring it to the soup kitchen, and we'd help unload the trucks. We'd help them, and then they'd give us ice cream.
Oh, that was a good trade.
They'd give us ice cream. The monks would give us ice cream. Yeah,
But, you know, the fun we had was fun we made.
Yeah.
It isn't like this now, kids. Dan, I said to him, Dan, I don't understand what's going on in the world. And he said, you know, Rosemary, it's a generation thing. He said, it's our generation. They're your generation. You know, the soccer games and the movie matinees in the afternoon.
It's all
and the birthday parties.
scheduled thing.
Helicopter, I call them helicopter parents. They hover around, you know, everything is scheduled. Rosemary's kids really don't, I don't think they
But
really have
I
any
remember
3 minutes.
when we were little, we used to run and play, and we would ride our bikes up to get like that candy store, and we would go.
7-Eleven.
Yeah, you guys would go to 7.
Yeah.
But we used to ride our bikes all over and swim in the lake for hours and
Oh,
hours.
yeah.
But now it's like,
And you'd play in the basement. The biggest treasure was the used refrigerator box.
yeah.
If I ever saw one in the neighborhood, I'd hurry home,
Oh, yeah,
get my car, drive it over there and load it into
A
the
box?
trunk and bring
We
it
used to
home.
play grocery.
And they'd
we
build
had all
the-
these
The
things.
house in the basement out of that.
I think part of it now is
Refrigerator
that you're
box.
afraid to let your kids run. You can't let your kids run through the neighborhood like that we used to do.
That might be
It's
it.
not-
It's a
it's
security.
Well,
It's
in
scary.
packs, could they, I mean, if there was like 4, 5, 6 of them?
Well, not at Will's age. I just still.
Well, not at Will's.
They pick one
But
up
I think
anyways.
at Will's age, I was riding my bike down the street to, you know, Regina
5?
Cool's house, and wasn't it at 5? I don't know, maybe
A
not.
lot
No,
safer.
not at 5 maybe.
Don Ballard at least.
but anyways, it's a different generation. They'll change,
But
they'll
it
change.
was,
Every generation.
It was
They'll-
an
they'll be
innocent,
different,
innocent
you know.
fun and
They'll
it made
change.
more creative fun.
We'd spend hours with just jump rope or
Climbing
Hops-
up.